All right, for segment 1 today, we're going to cover 3 topics. So 3 different videos are going to come out of segment 1 today, and they're all going to be on the combat system in Rules Cyclopedia. That's right, Dungeons & Dragons, Rules Cyclopedia, combat, and we're going to start with missile and magic combat. And if you remember from last week, or last video, depending on when you're watching this, combat is kind of phased. So I forget the order now, but I think it was missile goes first, magic goes second, melee goes third. So we're going to dive into the missile and magic combat now and show those melee guys the what for. If I can get that off the screen. Thank you. Go away. All right. Oh my God. I need energy. I drank more caffeine today than I normally do. I got the shakes, but I don't have energy. What's up with that? So magic and missile. There we go. 108. If I click it, does it go there? Did it? Oh, it did. Nice. Wait a second. Hand-to-hand adjustments, hand-to-hand combat phase. Do you see?
I can't see page numbers, so.
Yeah. Well, it's 108's there. Ah, okay, there it is. Yeah, it didn't actually quite go to where it was supposed to. All right, the PDF's broken. Fix it. And missile combat. Boom. There we go. We're not going to do what I did last week and just start redoing the chapter I'd already done. That was funny. Come on. Max, the shakes are taking the energy. You're right. That's probably what's up. All right. Missile combat phase. In the missile combat phase of the combat sequence, each character who has chosen to use a missile or thrown weapon now chooses his target. Okay, so when you roll initiative or before you roll initiative, or if the caller is calling it, you say, hey, I'm going to make a missile attack. But you don't actually have to declare your target at that time.
Nope.
And my guess is because, especially if you lose initiative, the combat situation is changing. It's fluid, as they like to say. And so you don't declare your target until it's really your time to act. See, now choose the target, rolls to hit that target, and if his roll is success, rolls damage for his attack. The victim, if hit, applies results immediately. If the attack kills or stuns the victim will not be able to act later in the round. So you're saying I can't make, a death attack? If it's simultaneous, do you remember simultaneous initiative? Each of the factors in the missile adjustments to hit checklist can provide a bonus or penalty. Oh, wow, look at those numbers.
Oh, that's a lot of crap.
Well, dexterity is already written on your character sheet,
it's
right?
already written, so that's fine.
So range, you just have to remember short range is +1. Medium range, nothing. Weapon, long range, -1. That's pretty simple.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I don't even like those modifiers. I don't think they're enough, but just they're there.
Here we are.
And then cover. Okay, we'll see the text below. We'll see how complicated that gets. And magic, well, it depends on the spell effect. So guess what? Your wizard will tell you that you got a bonus, and you're just going to have to remember it, or the wizard will remind you. That's not hard. So most of the stuff is going to be written down. All right, we already talked about dexterity adjustments. We already range adjustments. If the range is short, it's easy for the character to hit his target. Add +1 to the attack roll. That's you can read that chart up there.
There's cover.
Yep, cover adjustment. The enemy may be harder to hit because it's hiding behind something. This is called cover.
Well, okay, move on.
Yeah,
move on.
I won't do it. A character can gain the advantage of cover by hiding behind a table or chair or a tree or boulder outdoors. A shield does not provide cover for the purposes of this rule. I'm glad that little last phrase is there because I was going to scream about that. But yeah, okay, does not provide cover for the purposes of this rule. The -1 to AC bonus is the only adjustment the shield provides. If a target is behind cover, the DM should mention the fact to the players. He'll apply penalties to the attack roll. The DM does not have to tell his players precisely how severe the attack roll penalties are. Good. Now, this is not a war game. This is a role-playing game. Your character is going to take actions based on what he sees, not based on calculus. I like that rule. I don't have to tell you what the penalties are. Now, I will say, Dungeon Masters, you need to be reasonable, fair, and consistent. Whatever modifier you make needs to be reasonable to the situation. Use the book as the framework already. It needs to be fair. That means you're fair and consistent in this case are going to be the same thing. It means if you gave it to the player characters, you need to give it to the NPCs as well if they're in the same situation.
And same situation should give the same bonus or penalty.
Right. Yep. So the DM determines Each shot's penalties, they range from -1 for nominal soft cover to -6 for 3/4 hard cover. Okay, so it's definitely combining concealment and cover in here, but they have to. You only have one target roll, and that's AC. It's not like you have two different. They have a damage adjustment and an attack adjustment.
Right. They call concealment soft cover, and cover hard cover.
Yeah, essentially yes.
Yeah.
And so, he says that because it's right here on the target cover table, the fractions represent how much of the target is behind cover. Soft means that missile attacks easily penetrate the cover, whose value is mainly to hide the target, which would be concealment. Mm-hmm. Hard means that the cover can often deflect or stop missile attacks, boulders, and so on and so forth. So there you go. So concealment and cover, I would actually literally scribble that out in my book. Is -1 to -4, and hard cover. And this makes sense. Honestly, yeah. If you have hard cover, it could be a completely clear wall of force. I was going to say bulletproof glass, but this is a wall of force where you can see the person, so no concealment at all. But guess what? Every time you shoot, it's just going to bounce off that wall of force. Can't hit. If your character's under the effects of magic spell that helps his chances to hit, that help, which is normally a bonus, is applied here. Bonuses from such things as magical arrows also apply to the attack roll. So if you have an arrow +2, that adds +2 to your roll.
Sure. I mean, also, it didn't say that. It said usually a bonus, but if you're under the effects of the opposite of a bless spell, then you're going to get a minus. But yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, you already started. Good. Missile adjustment to damage. Characters get their strength adjustment to thrown weapon damage, but not to missile weapon damage. Do you want to insert your comment here?
Yeah, I everyone knows my take on this. If you have a bow, short bow, long bow, crossbow that is strung to your strength, and you have exceptional strength, it takes your strength to pull it back, then you should get a damage bonus because the missile will have more force applied to it. So it should do that +1, +2, +3 more damage. I would write that into my game. It would be house ruled into my game. But rules as written, no, you don't get that.
Okay. Targets within 5 feet. Missile this is funny that it's a 5-foot rule, but on a
Legolas
map.
says suck this rule.
What's that?
Legolas says suck this rule.
Yeah, right. But on a map in old school games, the squares are 10 feet. Missile attacks are not normally effective within a 5-foot range. If the target is within 5 feet and the attacker is using a missile fire device, bow, crossbow, etc., the attack automatically misses unless the target cannot move. Lots of games have this type of rule put into it. And it's actually, I'm not going to say true, but there's a lot of truth to this comment, even with pistols. A lot of people think, I can't miss somebody that's 5 feet from me. Go watch any videos of shootings, especially like cop shootings and so forth. It gets really difficult at that really close range. Because they're weaving and bobbing, trying to slap the gun out of your way or ducking or whatever, and you can only move your arm so fast. But the target must be tied down, grabbed by another character, held by magic, or otherwise pinned, else the missile attack will fail. A lot of the additions had strength bonuses to the roll. I don't know if we'll find something out differently here in basic, but going back to basic overcomplicates a lot of things, like attack charts, but weapon mastery, but it simplifies as many other things. Heathen Dog's house rule wouldn't break the game, so you could always just add that as a house rule. Potential targets. Partial targets. Do we want to read that? It's optional. Bonus points both are. So the DM can use rule simulate difficulty hitting targets only briefly exposed to fire. You know what? Yes, because I see players actually try to do this a lot, and then we'll see if this is a good rule though. Sometimes the target is only exposed for part of a round, such as during a quick run between points of concealment. Oh, now you use the word. so the DM can use this rule to simulate the difficulty of hitting a target that is only briefly exposed to fire. A combat round is 10 seconds long. The DM should calculate based on how he sees the situation, how long the target was exposed, and then consult the table below for the target's defensive bonus.
Okay, that's not super hard.
Right.
I mean, we already know how far each character can move in one round. How far away is the next concealment or cover? It's say 50 feet. Well, if you can move 120 feet, example, in that round, that means you are exposed for less than half the round, say 40% of the round, maybe even 35. So depending on what the chart looks like, you give that bonus.
And we'll have a chart down here in just a moment. So table's defensive class bonus. So this would be added to the character's armor class.
And saving throw.
And saving throw. Yeah, the bonus applies to both armor class and saving throws. In fact, if the attack is a spell that normally does not allow a saving throw, magic missile, any defensive bonus from partial exposure gives the target a saving throw of 20. Good luck. You're probably not going to make it, but
you didn't have it before. Now you have a 5% chance. Before you had none. So
right.
There you go.
So expose seconds. And here's the defensive bonus. Obviously, if you expose for all 10 seconds...
You get nothing. Yeah, you get nothing. But in my example, I would say around 4 seconds of exposure, you would get a defensive bonus of +6.
Yeah, seconds of exposure. Yeah, you get a defensive bonus. So that it basically increases or decreases your armor class and decreases your saving throw target number by 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. I personally feel this chart is a little too pedantic for my taste, but I get it. And I'm glad it's here for people. Yeah. Because here's what's going to happen at the table. Let's be a little realistic here. It doesn't take me 7 seconds to get from there to there. Well,
that's easy enough to fight. I mean, you move this many feet in 10 seconds. The next cover is this many feet away. It doesn't take a genius to do that math.
Well, that's if it's 1 for 1. The thing is okay, you're crouched down, you want to stand up, you want to run. There are other factors that you know how players get. That's a very simple way of looking at it. I agree with you. But then the seconds exposed. Well, it doesn't take 3 seconds for this to happen or that. You know how players argue. Personally, I would have made the chart just probably using the numbers here, a 1, 5, and 10. Kind of like most of the round, some of the round, none of the round, which is normal, and just gone with that. I'm not angry at this chart. I see arguments coming from this. But guess who wins in the end?
Game Master.
There you go.
In this case, the Dungeon Master.
Right. All right. Honestly, those are pretty simplistic rules. They all make sense. I don't have any... I mean... The soft cover, and Heathen Dog knows, it's just a thing with me. Cover and concealment is a big deal for me in games. So I actually think it handles it well, just doesn't use the right terms.
Yeah, I mean, we understand what it meant.
Yep.
So that's great.
All right, now let's talk about magic in the magic phase. In the magic phase of the combat sequence, each character who has chosen to cast a spell this round, who can cast a spell that hasn't already made a missile attack this round, now chooses his target. Why was that in there? Who hasn't already made a missile attack? What? Oh, yeah, I'm declaring a missile attack and a magic What? Can't do that. Weird. Okay, maybe there's a reason for it. Believe me, you weirdos who watch these videos
hang on. No, here it is. If you are an elf, you probably can use a bow and magic when you get a high enough level. So you have to choose.
But you declare
if you get a high enough level, you can have more than one attack per round. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, my understanding is, and the thing is, I've got so many rules floating through my head. I might be wrong about Rules Cyclopedia. I might be thinking something else, but I don't think you can declare a magic attack or any other type, or magic spell or any other type of attack. A magic spell takes up the entire round.
Well, yeah, that's why it says who can cast a spell and hasn't already made a missile attack. So that would be elf.
I get it. It's one of those things that should be implied, but okay, I get it now.
Because there is a kind of multi-classing in this game, that you can do spells and missile weapons or spells and melee weapons. You have a choice. It's making it clear right here that as long as you haven't chosen anything else, you can now do magic.
Yeah, this is one of those rules that I'll go back to and I'll backtrack a little bit and say, I guess I understand why it's here. It didn't need to be written, but, I understand why it's here. So now choose the target. Makes an attack roll to hit that target if an attack roll is required for a spell. The target makes a saving throw if one is allowed or necessary. The target applies any damage if any, immediately. As before, if the attack kills or stuns the victim will not be able to act later in the round.
This is toward the end of the round anyway, right?
Look, I'm not dead. I'm dying. No, you're dead. You've been murderfied. Maximum spell damage. This rule is presented in Chapter 3, but it's important enough to repeat here and elsewhere. Awesome. The maximum damage produced by any single spell is 20 dice. That's still a lot of the dice specified. So if for some reason you think you should have 36 D8 lightning bolt damage...
Sorry,
it's only 20. Character saving throws. The player finds out what he's saving against. Death ray, poison, magic, wands, paralysis, turn to stone, dragon breath, rod, staff, or spell. You know, people complain about TSR's saving throws. I like them.
Yeah, there's a lot, but it's not hard. You go from top to, especially here, you go from top to bottom until you find the first one that fits.
Did they say that for
the one it
basic? I know that's the rule for second edition, but did they say that for basic, that you start at the top and work your way down?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember the video, so yeah, I know we already covered that. And yes, that makes sense as well, but people are like, why can't you just do reflex? Because it's boring. This has soul to it, okay? It might be quirky, but it has some soul to it, and it makes sense. Are you, is somebody trying to zap you with some sort of, power word kill? It's probably Death Ray. I don't know. They make sense to me, and I like them. They don't take away from the game. They don't slow the game down. They don't do anything to hurt the game other than you just want to be Mr. Wargamey efficient. And, I despised, what was it in third edition? Those 3, reflex, fortitude, and... Willpower. Yeah. I thought you couldn't get any more boring than that. Even 5th edition at least went to each attribute. No. All right, all characters and roll. Wait. Okay, hold on. He cross-references his character level with the attack on the saving throws table. All characters and rolls 1d. Okay, that's just bad English. Got it. It rolls d20 if he rolls or exceeds the number. Okay, if he equals or exceeds the number shown, he is successfully saved. Okay, a little weird English there, but
yeah, how hard is that? Equal or higher? All right.
All right, and if you look at that, they even put the saving throw chart for you here. You're going to have it on your character sheet already, but it's in a nice place for you here. So if he what level did we say your character was? Just dinking around with it, was like 5 or something?
I
know you just have him created.
I have him created.
Yeah, last week didn't we do like 5?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a 5th level thief, right?
Yep.
So a 5th level thief. So there's the 5 to 8. And if he's saving versus poison, it's an 11, unless he has some sort of bonus for it. Then it could be a 10 or higher. Or let me do it right for this game. You just add the number to the roll or subtract the number from the roll if it's a penalty.
Yeah.
So, easy peasy. The bad effects of many magic spells can be diminished or eliminated altogether if the victim makes a saving throw. To make a saving throw, the player finds out from the DM what sort of saving throw he should make. Again, Game Master's going to say, hey, buddy, what's another one on here? Turn to stone. That's just a fun one. Hey, you need to make a turn to stone saving throw. And, oh, look at that. You got a 13. That's your best, or tied for your best one.
Woohoo.
Well, actually, you'd be your
11.
level.
11.
You'd be 11. That's right. Go ahead and roll me. I want to roll me that D20. I want to see if you turn to stone, buddy.
14. I did not.
He did not turn to stone.
Woo!
The Medusa cries.
Aw. Suck it, wench.
One snake dies. If the magical attack doesn't exactly correspond to one of those categories, the DM should decide which type of saving throw column the attack most closely responds to. Okay, so it doesn't look like it goes in order here. Oh. It looks like DM decides.
DM call. Okay.
For example, both work for me. I like the second edition one simply because you can just start at the top and go down. But I'm okay with this as well, as long as it makes sense. For example, a magical flamethrower is similar to a dragon's fiery breath. So a character in the effective one would make a saving throw versus dragon breath. Sure. I could also see somebody doing it versus wand. And I say that because I've seen that before. But I think dragon breath is the most appropriate one.
Or the catch-all, it is a magical flamethrower, so suck it,
could
spell.
Spell, there you go.
I mean, that's the final one. That's a catch-all. Does it say magic in it anywhere? Spell.
Right.
And you're right.
Yeah, I like Dragon Breath the best. I'm just, again, there can be some flexibility in there, for the Dungeon Master. The player cross references his character. Okay, we already did this. We showed how to make the roll with Heathen Dogs roll.
Yeah.
Some spells, magic items, and high wisdom scores can improve the saving throws. You'll have that on your character sheet.
Right.
Monster saving throws. Monsters do not have a separate saving throw table. They use the same as the characters. The monster description in another publication does not have a save as listing. Here's a simple rule of thumb. Intelligent creatures save as fighters of equal experience level to the monster's hit dice. Creature of animal intelligence or lower saves as fighters whose experience points is half the monster's hit dice, round up. Thus, a 9 hit die monster of intelligence 1 would save as a 5th level fighter.
Okay. All right. But, Dracula would save as
a 9th
level fighter.
Right. Well, just using that same number, we'll just go. He'd save as a 9th hit die fighter.
Right. Well, I hope Dracula's a little stronger than that, but whatever.
He's young Dracula. Okay.
Oh, he's young Dracula.
Teen Dracula.
It's like young Sheldon.
Right. There you go.
he's a kid vampire genius.
There you go. So that's it. That's all it is for magic. Magic is pretty simple, man. Declare it, do it, save it, die.
Or not.
Next video, we're going to talk about hand-to-hand combat. This is going to be the longer of the 3 videos. It depends on if there are charts here. Yeah, this one's going to be the longer of the 3 videos. Because
now, there are some people who are going to say, wait a minute, why is melee last? I mean, we've got thrown stuff, we've got missile stuff, we've got magic stuff, and now we have melee? But you have to think about it that most combat does not start immediately in melee range. Most combat starts, you have to close. Well, with missile weapons, thrown weapons, and magic, you don't need to close the distance. You can just shoot. And every round is 10 seconds, which means the guy you're hitting is going to try and get some distance from you the next round. So you got to close again. So every round, melee is going to be last. It does make sense.
From a certain point of view.
Don't go Obi-Wan on me.
No, I say that because Hyperborea does the opposite. Hyperborea starts with melee and then ends with magic. And it rationalizes otherwise. It rationalizes that you're already in the combat, so I can go like that a lot faster than you go, No matter how you do it, remember, it's a game, and these are phased out for the purposes of just keeping control of what is a chaotic situation.
And if you follow this framework, your combat will be fast and efficient.
Yes. But it's not realistic. Well, You're playing a game, guys.
I don't know, man. I don't want to tell you, man. Just let it go.
Then you know what? You should be playing Palladium, because there's a lot more cinematic and realistic, for lack of a better term, in that regard. Action, reaction. I'm faster than him. So many things that you can do with that.
Okay.
I like this D&D system.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it works for it. If I'm playing D&D, I think it works great. Keeps the table moving, keeps the game moving. Remember, it's a role-playing game. It's like that old Sesame Street thing. Role-playing game. Role-playing game. Role-playing game. There's going to be role-playing in there, which I know a lot of people want to do the narrative side of it, but there's going to be a game in there as well. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, we got some quibbles with like what weapon mastery is a big one I remember, but all told... And that's more to do, like you could fail and so forth. Like, wait, what?
Crazy.
In the training aspect of it. But all told, it works. It's functional. It had almost 2 decades worth of input onto it to come up with this encyclopedic format. I think it works. So, what do we got for chat?
Some of the chat. Let's see what we got here. We got Pedar Ruan, I guess. I know I've said this before, but really appreciate you doing this review. Great for refreshing my knowledge of rules as written. Well, you are welcome.
So I have an interesting take on this. I think you guys heard me say it before. I appreciate this comment. I appreciate because I didn't think of it this way. We've been getting pretty decent views on this, and believe me, when I see the comment, people have opinions. How can you not understand this? Or, oh my God, do you not realize that this came from, like, half the time I don't care. It's just what it is. But I always find it odd when people watch videos on games that they already know. Like, I get it for him because he's doing overviews and he's kind of broad stroking it, and you might have a different take. But like for these read throughs, it's like, don't you own the book? Just open up to the page and read through it. So I do. I'm not. So this take right here is saying great for refreshing my knowledge of rules as written. The one thing I've heard that people really like is they like our discussion of the rules. I sometimes think it goes too long because I don't want a 2-hour long video, but you guys like it. And actually, I like doing the discussions as well. It'd be really boring just reading every paragraph. I mean, like an audiobook. So I get it more now than I used to. I still find, I don't know why, but I think I'm always going to find a little odd that if you already are kind of a master of the game, why are you watching this video?
Well, there is one thing. I mean, when you do something for years and years and years, in your brain, you don't see the steps anymore, right?
Mm.
You just go through it like almost like mental muscle memory.
Yeah.
So when you have someone reading out the steps to you, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that. Like it's refreshing. Like, oh yeah, that's why I do that. Yeah, I'd forgotten the reason. I just remember the result. Stuff like that.
Like always remembering that saving throws are on page 101 of the second edition player's handbook.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, things like that. Yeah. Oh, I'm really looking forward to the second edition coverage to be like, oh crap. Because I have.
Yeah, that's going to happen a lot for us. Yeah.
I can almost guarantee I've house ruled half that game.
I agree. And next we have, same guy, same Padar. That's the best thing about BECME/RC is that it's easy to homebrew to your taste. Yes, all the rules so far have been quite simple, and changing one does not seem to cause a domino effect that will, wreck things down the line. Doesn't seem that way. So, if I were running this game based on this book, I would completely eliminate that weapon mastery section altogether and just use what it says in character creation about weapon proficiencies and masteries and stuff like that. I would just use that.
I like the weapon mastery. I just don't like the failure. I already forgot what it was, but like the training around it.
Yeah. You can fail in training.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't really
like.
That
is a mechanic that is unnecessary.
Yeah, right.
You don't need to fail in training. You're already a professional fighter. Why would you fail learning a spear when you've learned the axe, the mace, and the longsword already? I mean, it's a completely different. Shut up, dude.
Well, I also know that people out there, they'll quibble something. Well, because not everybody remembers everything in real life. I get that, but I'm not trying to play a simulation of my real life here. I'm trying to play a game.
And plus, this is not something you're going to gloss over. As a fighter, you are not going to forget how to use your weapons. I'm sorry, you're not. You're not. You might forget to turn the oven off or some nonsense like that, but you're not going to forget how to use a knife. All right, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's it.
There are a couple more that I wanted to put in here because they're talking about. So here's one. I personally like listening to you guys while I'm at work or doing something else. I really learn. I learn really well from listening to things. Helps me a lot. That goes into that whole sensory thing. They say that people the more senses you use, your ability to learn it goes higher. Yep. I also think that there's an emotional component to it as well because we can anger some people with our takes. But you know what? I've actually had people they remember it. What sometimes people don't know, and I don't want to say this is 100% true. There's kind of a spectrum on this as well. But sometimes our debates or arguments get escalated intentionally for you guys to react. So, there are a couple. That Degenesis one will always stick in my head. Let's see. It's this one, and I get it. When you take into account homebrew rules, it's good to see why you made the rule. Yeah, I know. Well, I shouldn't say he gets mad at me, but sometimes Heathen Dog will be like, "Come on, we're talking rules as written." When I go into my house rule spiel, sometimes I get it. I probably do it a little bit too much, but it's that why. I am a why person. Again, I'm a spirit of the law type person. I change things that might not make sense to other people. The most notable one, and then we'll end this segment, is in Earth Dawn. When people played Earth Dawn, they don't understand why I did this because in their mind, the math is the same. And so in Earth Dawn, if you change your action, what's supposed to happen is there's a +2 target number to the resolution of the new action. I don't do that. I say -2 steps. because it has a psychological impact on the people of, whoa, wait a second here. First of all, I have to figure out what new dice to roll. Secondly, -2 steps, I'm rolling smaller dice. A lot of people don't realize that the dice actually line up to the average roll. So if it says step 10 dice, the average of step 10 dice is 10. So it's not that big of a deal, but it has a little bit more of a psychological impact. And I did that because in my first Earth Dawn campaign I ever ran, they were changing actions constantly, and it was they would actually declare actions they didn't even care about.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it was in every group since it, but it's one of those things that stunted me. So, but by changing that rule, I've never had that problem since then. It's not a rule for everybody. You might even right now think it's stupid. It works for me. It works for my games. I will continue it until the day I die. So, all right. What is that?
CPK. Good. Thank you for the $10. Appreciate it.
Hate generator.
Hate generator. Heathen dog. Not liking shifters. Shifters can burn in the special part of hell. That's where they can go. Hey, you know what? I would love that the bad guy, the end boss of a campaign, be a shifter. That means I don't have to do anything. I can stay at home. He's going to kill himself. Eventually, he's going to kill himself. I don't have to do anything. I can be a cook. I don't need to be an adventurer anymore. That'd be great. I mean, it'd be a horrible story, but...
You covered 6th edition Champions a few years ago, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Champions Complete or whatever it's called?
Yes.
Okay. All right, sorry, that was for a Rumble comment. You can't see the Rumble comment, so that was for a Rumble comment. All right, let me put where's my... Boom. All right, please like, subscribe, and share if you like this read-through. I honestly, guys, I really appreciate the fact that you guys like it. Even when you put little hate comments in there about how stupid we are when we're reading a rule and we're not reading it correctly, we got you to think about it. And you're watching the videos. That's a good thing. And if you are learning something from this or relearning something from this, or just watching it to see how stupid we are and you want to comment on it, it's okay. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And be sure that you share our stupidity with other people out there. And have a great day.